Hey guys, welcome back to fitandflexy.com. So excited to have you guys back here. Today we're going through a resistance band tutorial. I'm going to show you a few of my favorite moves to do as warm-ups. So the resistance bands that I use are called Slingshot, and this is a really great band. So I used to use the plastic resistance bands, but I have switched over to Slingshot. Now these are made out of a fabric, so that way that they don't rip, and they turn my muscles on fire. And I've never had a resistance band work this well. They're never going to rip, so that's what's super great about them. If you buy them on Amazon, you're going to get exactly this pack here. And so the red one's going to be the heaviest, blue is going to be the in-between, and the purple is going to be the lightest. So I'm going to show you a few of my favorite resistance band warm-ups. I'm going to show you a few that I do for the upper body as well as the lower body. If anything, there's hundreds of thousands of workouts you can do with these. I do like to use these in my workouts. You guys have seen me do them with hip thrusts, I do them with squats, so many different things, and they're just a really great way to kind of get your body warmed up before your workout. Lately my training's been different, so I haven't been using resistance band as much because resistance bands are usually kind of an accessory tool to kind of work the smaller muscles around your larger muscle groups. I definitely use resistance bands to warm up in my workouts. I absolutely love using them. So I'm going to go ahead and get started and show you guys a few of my favorite moves. We're going to go ahead and start with the upper body. I'm going to go ahead and grab my lighter band, and I'm going to place it around my wrists here. And so my arms are nice and straight, my feet are about hip width apart. I'm going to come into a slight bend here, bend in the knees, bend in the torso and hips. And I'm just going to raise my arms up. So what this is doing is it's warming up my shoulders, it's warming up my rotator cuff, the top of my shoulder blade, right underneath. And then you're also going to feel this a lot in the deltoids, so right in the shoulders. And so if you're about to do usually if I'm about to go into my power cleans or do a really heavy upper body workout, I love to start with everything I'm about to show you. Another one I like to do is you can add in with this is a row. So you're going to come in and row, keeping the resistance on that band here. And so I'll come sideways, row, and then you can add in that first one I showed you, in and then up, in and up. And so that's a really great warm-up for the shoulders and your entire rotator cuff, getting into the shoulder blades as well. And you really want to think about that mind-muscle connection, think about what you're working. And so with the row, you really want to think about that mid-back squeezing between the shoulder blades. Another one you can do is a bicep curl here. This is a pretty isolated movement. You're still kind of thinking about that resistance pressing outwards, so you're still going to get into that outer arm a little bit into the tricep as well. The other one we're going to do, last one we're going to do is going to take the resistance band behind our backs. It's still going to be around the wrists here. Coming bent over, we're going to do a tricep extension, lifting up. Still pressing the arms out, of course. And so we're tapping into the triceps, but we're still tapping into those shoulders and the rotator cuff because we're doing that pressing out motion. Another upper body warm-up I have is where you come on the ground. You can also do this on the wall as well. So having the band around the wrists, we walk the hand up and back down, down all the way. Up, center, down, center, up. And you can alternate between the sides. And so you're going to feel this in your triceps, you're going to feel this in your shoulders. You might start to feel it a little bit in your bicep as well. So everything we're doing here, so the raise, the row, and the tricep extension, even the bicep curls, it's all kind of tapping into that rotator cuff because we're using that pressure to press out. The resistance band's forcing us to use that rotator cuff to keep the arms out and the resistance on the band. The rotator cuff tends to be a really common injury in the shoulder. So keeping those muscles really happy and focusing on that accessory work is really important. And so this is just one of those many ways that you can do that. The next one we're going to do is a lower body warm-up. Like I said earlier, there's hundreds of things that you can do with resistance bands when it comes to working out and even just accessory work, warming up. I'm just going to show you a few of my favorites. So a lot of people tend to struggle with their glute medius being weak. And I'm going to show you exactly what that means. The glute medius is the outer glute. And so when we're lunging, whether you're doing it in yoga or whether you're weightlifting, when you're lunging and that knee starts to cave in towards that big toe, just even a little bit, that could be a cause of weakness in the glute med. So you really want to focus on pressing that knee out towards the pinky toe. Anytime you see your knees caving in, whether it's your lunge, your squat, your deadlift, your hip thrust, whatever it may be, that can be showing signs of weakness in the glute med. And resistance bands are a really great way to keep that glute medius activated and build strength in it. And we also talked about this in my last tutorial on the cables. I showed you guys a few workouts you can do there, which are going to be pretty similar to what I'm going to show you here. So my glute medius is very weak, especially on my right side. I have no idea why, that's just what it has happened. And I'm starting to work back into strengthening that, and that's where these resistance bands have come in and they've saved me. I use them in my hip thrusts, use them in my squats, deadlifts when I can, and then of course I'm always warming up with them. And so I'm going to show you a few different ways that we can do this. So we're going to come onto our side first. You can kind of lay down on your forearm or all the way onto the elbow. And so the resistance band is right above the knees. Some people find a little more activation with the resistance band below the knees, but I definitely think a majority of people feel it better with the resistance band above the knees. And so from here we're going to have the knees bent. We're slightly at a 90-degree angle with our torso and legs. The feet are going to stay together and we're just going to clamshell here. And so everyone's probably seen clamshells before. And you're going to start to feel that on that glute, top of the glute. We want to think about that mind-muscle connection, putting your thought into, am I squeezing this glute medius here? For our next one, the bottom leg is going to bend and the top leg is going to stay straight. We're going to press through that heel and we're going to lift up. And now the key here isn't to bring the leg back, you want to keep it forward. And you're going to feel that right away, especially if you're using these bands here. Another great glute med activator, as well as just glute warm-up, is we come into an elevated tabletop. I posted these the other day on my Instagram. And so the knees are just hanging off the mat. You can bring the feet in slightly close to each other, and we're just going to flare the knees out. And this is going to help us get into our inner thighs, outer hips, into the glute med. You can go a little bit faster if you like to build a little bit of a pump. For this one, I'm going to go ahead and up the resistance on my band. I'm grabbing my blue band, which is the middle weight, I guess you could say. So make sure you can touch your heels with your middle finger just slightly. And then we're going to press through the heels, lift the hips up, and I want you to press the knees out. Again, we're tapping into that glute medius, but we're also warming up our hips and our glute max here as well. And you can go back and forth, up and down a few times. Another option here is that you can add abductions with every rep, or you can even hold at the top in the isolation. And so with abduction, that just means pressing the knees out. So we're going to press out and back in and release. Also with the adduction, you don't even have to have the hips up. You can still get that pump with the glutes down. So you can bring the feet just a little bit closer to each other than hip width, so you can get those knees a little bit wider and then press out. For this next one, this is going to help us focus a lot more on our core. Again, it's going to help us focus on that glute med as well, because anytime you have your band around your legs, you're pretty much focusing on that outer muscle here. And so pressing through the heels, trying to keep the legs as straight as we can, we're going to press the band out, and I want you to just bring the legs down, leg raises. You can bring your hands underneath the sacrum to keep the back safe. Another glute exercise we're going to do here is the donkey kick, and I'm pretty sure everyone knows the donkey kick. We're also going to do the abduction. So we already did an abduction when we were in our hip thrust. I'm going to show you another way to do it in tabletop position. So you can do abduction from the side here. I'm going to raise my right leg up to the side and back down. Again, getting on that outer glute. And then another one is our donkey kick where we just kick back here. And you want to press through that heel and see how I'm not sinking down through my chest or my belly. I want to keep that core tight and that back nice and flat. Think about there being a plate on your lower back here, and you're trying not to spill anything. Press through the heel, and you're really going to feel it in that glute. You're using that glute to lift that leg up. My last warm-up for you guys is pretty much a squat and a deadlift. Just imagine I'm here with a barbell or dumbbells or something. You can do these with a really light weight. I don't have any dumbbells here, so we're going to go ahead and just pretend I'm holding something. So nice slight bend in the knees and coming down and squeezing up. And so this is really going to turn on those hamstrings a lot faster. And you really want to think about pressing the knees out, keeping the toes pointed forward though. We're going to get deeper into those hamstrings, so coming into your deadlift. And we're doing an RDL here, so Romanian deadlift, straight leg deadlift, whatever you want to call it. And this is a really great way to warm up. You don't even have to use weight here, just think about squeezing your hamstrings and your glutes. And then, of course, we go into our squat as well. You can use these to warm up the glutes as well. One of my other favorites to come into when I'm warming up for my squat is squat down and up to the side. Thank you guys so much for joining me in this tutorial. I hope that you get to use some of these in the gym next time you are there. Hope you guys are having an amazing week, and I can't wait to see you guys back here. Thank you so much for tuning in.